Let's discuss a few simple settings and patches that boost the low end of the MS-20 Mini. One special feature of the MS-20 is that it uses the same envelope for the VCA and for the filters, and this is envelope 2. And if you tune a short envelope with no sustain for a snappy filter response, you quickly lose power in your sound due to the closing VCA. Let's hear how that sounds. Not bad. However, it would be nicer if we could keep the VCA open a bit longer to hear the low bass sounds that come through the closing filter. To achieve this, we can patch envelope generator 1 into the initial gain input of the VCA, and now it will stay open as long as we push a key or feed a gate into the trigger in, as envelope generator 1 has 100% sustain level. So you can really hear some more low end now in that sound. What you also hear is some white noise, which keeps bleeding through even if you close the VCO mixer and the filters completely. And that's an issue of the MS-20 Mini. I don't know if it also affects the full-size version, but it's definitely there on the MS-20 Mini. By the way, if you patch something into the initial gain input of the VCA, you do not decouple it from envelope generator 2, because it's hardwired internally. That's one of the things this symbol wants to tell us, and the other thing, I guess, is that the VCA sits right behind here and has a triangular shape. The signal you feed into the initial gain gets summed together with the signal that comes from envelope generator 2. Another way to generate really low basses is to use the high-pass filter in full resonance, so that it starts to self-oscillate and you can use it as an additional VCO. And you can also make it track the keyboard if you patch the keyboard CV out to its cutoff frequency modulation input. And then you have to set the modulation amount to around 7 if you play in the lowest octave, and for the higher octaves you have to set it somewhere between 4 and 5. So it's not a proper tracking over the whole keyboard, but as long as you stay within 1 octave you can set it and forget it, and the tracking will be precise enough. By the way, a combination of the patch with the VCA and a resonant high-pass filter is perfect for some Another way to create a third oscillator is to use the external signal processor and patch its bandpass filter output to the signal in. And if you now increase the signal level, it will start to self-oscillate, and you can patch the amplifier output to the external input of the high-pass filter. It's not a VCO, so it will not track the keyboard, and you have no way to make it track the keyboard or anything else, but you can adjust its pitch by the signal level and the two controls of the bandpass filter. So let's first listen to the ESP exclusively. Sounds like a square wave or something like that. So let's try to tune it and match it with the VCOs. Even without any special patching, the bass sound of the MS-20 Mini isn't bad. You just have to keep the low-pass filter closed and give it a bit of resonance and some envelope, and you're quite immediately good to go. So let's now try to combine all these methods to one patch and see if it works. So how do we start? Envelope generator 1 to the VCA, and we need the keyboard CV out to the modulation of the high pass filter, set it to somewhere around 7, and we take the ESP band pass filter output. Let's take this one, the amplifier to the external signal in of the high pass filter. I guess that's the patches I described earlier. So let's see if this works. So that's a bit much and brings the VCA to its limits, and it starts to distort quite heavily. So let's go back to the simple setting without any special patching, and we switch to a quick impro where I used the SQ1 sequencer to play a melody, and I improvised some bass notes on top. using pulse waves for the VCOs and a quite close low-pass filter with a bit of resonance. So these were just some simple patches that boost the low end of the MS-20 Mini. Perhaps I was able to help some of you if you're currently in the process to decide if the MS-20 Mini is a synth for you or not. And yeah, thanks for watching.